Dear besties, if you have any administrative job interview, then of course come in here, especially if it's with the NHS. Now I've released the part one, and of course some of you really loved it. So let's do 5 more interview questions. So the first question they could ask you in an NHS admin interview is, what do you understand by patient confidentiality and data protection in healthcare? Now, of course, it's an administrative role, but the fact that you're working in NHS obviously means that you should have good knowledge of confidentiality policies as well as data protection. So as usual, this is going to be my sample answer. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Ada, and of course I call myself the queen of job interviews because I absolutely love creating this content just for you. So let's move on to my sample answer. Patient confidentiality means keeping all information about a patient private and only sharing with people who are directly involved in their care or when legally required. It includes everything from medical history and treatment plans to personal information like names and addresses. As an NHS admin professional, it's your responsibility to ensure this information is protected at all times. Data protection relates to the systems and procedures in place to make sure that patient information is stored securely and not misused. This includes following the UK General Data Protection Regulation (GDPR) and the Data Protection Act 2018. In practice, this means locking your computer when stepping away, ensuring paper files are stored securely, not discussing patients in public areas, and only accessing records when it's necessary for your role. So I think with that answer, I have comprehensively talked about data protection, patient confidentiality, and any interviewer will know that I know what these terms mean. So now the second question is, tell me about the time when you worked as part of a team. As an administrative professional or even as a professional in general, working with a team, interdisciplinary working or multi-agency working is something that is highly encouraged, especially in the NHS. So they need to know how you've done this. Now, this kind of interview question, they are saying, tell me about a time when. So in your answer, you're not just going to say it's good to work with professionals, it's good to work with. You must give examples from your practice. Of course, if you are new and you don't have enough job experiences, you can draw from your lived experiences or your volunteering experiences. So let's see my sample answer. In my previous admin role, I was part of a small team responsible for processing patient referrals. There was a period when our department was understaffed and the volume of work increased. Instead of focusing only on my assigned tasks, I collaborated with my team by helping with their workload whenever I could. We created a shared checklist, divided responsibilities based on urgency, and supported each other when things got overwhelming. By communicating clearly and staying flexible, we managed to keep up with the referrals without delays. That experience taught me how essential teamwork is in healthcare settings, especially when patient care depends on efficient back office processes. Now that's a very good answer. Now question 3. Can you tell me what administrative softwares you've used? Now obviously, if you want to work as an admin personnel, this could be you being a medical secretary, could be you being a general secretary in the hospital, being an administrative staff, a clerical staff, a non-clinical staff. You would most likely use hospital processes or some processes, and they want to know if you have the experience doing that. So this is going to be my sample answer. I'm comfortable using a wide range of administrative tools. For general office tasks, I regularly use Microsoft Word for letters and reports, Excel for spreadsheets and data tracking, and Outlook for email and calendar management. In healthcare specific settings, I have experience with NHS systems such as EMIS and System 1 for managing patient record, booking appointments, and updating referrals. I'm also familiar with scanning, coding, and electronic filing systems. I'm quick to learn new software and always make sure I understand the correct procedures for entering and handling sensitive data. In a case where you are a newbie and you've not even used any of these systems, or you don't even know what I'm talking about, of course, the general systems like Microsoft Word, Excel, that's something that if you're computer literate, then definitely you would have used that, so you can always say that. But then in talking about other systems that you may not have used, you can say something like, although I've not used some hospital systems like you mention them. I am knowledgeable that there are systems that aid easy operation, and of course, if you know what these systems are for instance, most systems are for you to record case notes. You mention that you know what these systems are for, and of course, you are a fast learner, you are quite flexible, you would learn these things. So even if you don't have enough experience, I don't want you to act like, oh, you don't know any system. At very least, you know Microsoft Word, you should know Excel. These are popular systems that professionals will definitely use. Not forgetting Outlook, of course. Let's move on to the first question. And if you're enjoying this video, I want to see a thumbs up so I know the kind of content you like. Of course, if you want me to go into other interview questions for other industries, let me know and I would consider that. So now the first question is, how would you handle a situation where you made a mistake at work? Now, in this question, on no account should you say you don't make mistakes, you're a perfectionist, or worse off, if you make a mistake, you won't acknowledge it. Please say what you would do, and to even make it more robust, you can give an example from your practice. Remember, when you are in an interview room, you should always have ready examples so they will know that you're not just capping. So this is going to be my sample answer. If I made a mistake at work, my first step would be to acknowledge it immediately. I would review the situation to understand what went wrong, take steps to correct it as quickly as possible, and inform my manager so that they are aware. I believe transparency and accountability are important in a healthcare environment. For example, if I filed the wrong patient form or booked an appointment incorrectly, I would contact the patient promptly to explain and resolve the issue while also updating the system correctly. After that, I would reflect on what caused the mistake and consider what I could do differently, like slowing down when checking patient IDs or using a checklist to avoid repetition. Mistakes are an opportunity to improve. Can you see that this is actually a perfect answer? So the first step is to, of course, acknowledge it. Then you can see all the follow-up steps. So you can even give examples, like in this sample answer, I gave examples of a mistake that could be made and how I'm going to rectify it. So you can use that or give examples of something that happened in your past. But remember, in the mistake you are giving, it has to be a mistake that makes sense. Don't give one mistake that is very out of it, especially in line with the job description. If, for instance, they tell you that they want someone that has good interpersonal skills, don't go and say a mistake of you maybe being rude to a patient or something like that. See, be careful. Know what you are saying when you are talking about your weaknesses, but it's important for you to actually say something that shows that you understand that you're not infallible. You make mistakes and that's okay. You're not supposed to be perfect. So now the final question is, how do you manage a positive attitude when dealing with stressful situations? If you're working with the NHS in whatever capacity, sometimes the atmosphere can be charged, especially as an admin professional. So how would you handle it? This is going to be my sample answer. In a healthcare admin role, stressful situations can come up frequently, whether it's dealing with a high volume of calls or managing urgent tasks. I stay calm by staying organized and keeping things in perspective. I prioritize my task based on urgency and make sure to communicate clearly with my team if I need support. If a situation becomes particularly intense, I take a moment to pause, breathe, and refocus. I also remind myself that my role contributes to patient care and that helps me stay motivated. I think it's important to be kind and respectful to both patients and colleagues, even under pressure. A calm and positive attitude not only helps me, but also sets the tone for others around me. Now, that to me is an amazing answer. Of course, you can keep giving lots of examples as you deem fit. So, my loves, those are the 5 interview questions for NHS admin roles. And of course, I'm going to be linking up a playlist filled with similar content such as this. If you like this kind of videos, let me know in the comment section. You can just say, I love your videos. That motivates me to create more content. And of course, until next time, my loves, stay blessed, remain happy. And if you've not subscribed to my channel by this time, that's weird. Weird character. All right, my loves, bye.